Okay, so you were wondering how I do my complex wound care without having sterile gloves up until I do the packing. I use this method because I'm always just touching all over. It's a whole thing. It's very, very much contaminating my sterile gloves all the time. So when I use the no-touch technique, I find that I have less breaches of sterility, which is what we want in this procedure, right? So I cleared this with the lab instructors. They said it does maintain sterility. I can definitely use it in the demo. And just a reminder, everybody does wound care a little bit differently. So if you want to use the techniques that I'm showing you here, feel free. Whatever is more comfortable for you is what you should do in practice, right? Because you just need to maintain that sterility. That's the real big thing, okay? So at this point, I have already set up my sterile field, and it's very lovely. I have already poured in my sterile water, and I have already deactivated my canola and dropped it in using the no-touch technique. I didn't want to do that in this video because I'd probably use up all of my canolas, and we don't have that. Yeah, I don't have enough canolas for that. Anyways, so I already dropped it in using the no-touch technique. So I'm just going to show you how to irrigate and then how to dry a wound without using sterile gloves, because those are the parts that you would normally have sterile gloves on for. And now I'm going to show you how to do them without. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my 30 milliliter syringe. So I'm going to wing back and I'm going to take this out, 30 milliliter. Then I'm going to take my beautiful sterile forceps. I would normally be using my right hand for this, but I did hurt my right hand today and it still kind of hurts. So it has not been cooperating for me. So I'm going to use my left. So the key to this is that when you are attaching this, you want to twist the syringe, okay? Do not try to twist the forceps, because otherwise you're going to look like this, and it's going to be this whole thing, you know what I'm saying? So if when you twist, I'm sorry, when you twist the syringe, okay, way easier, so easy, and it gets on there. You don't have to be a contortionist to get this done. Okay, so I'm going to put my blue forceps aside, and I'm going to draw up my sterile water. Get that 20 milliliters. I think that's about 20. I don't know, it's always hard to see. And I don't have my glasses on, so I'm partially blind. That's 20. So now I'm going to irrigate my wound. So just using that method that they taught us, going clean to dirty, maintaining that good pressure of 4 to 15 psi, because we all know exactly how much that is. I have no idea. But you know what? This is pretty much working for me. So you just make sure that you are irrigating it until it runs clear, maintaining a pretty good pressure. Like, don't be a sissy about it, you know what I'm saying? And just pressure, 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 pressure. I'm just putting it back in my tray because I don't want to make my wound wet over and over and over again. But that is just for this video. Now that I've done that, I'm just gonna chuck this to the side. I no longer need my irrigation because I just irrigated. So it ran clear, which is great. So the next thing we're gonna have to do is we're going to have to clean it. So I am gonna use my metal forceps to dry it. Sorry, not clean. I'm drying it because we already cleaned it, okay? So I'm gonna use my metal forceps. So what I do is I grab my blue forceps, I pick up my metal forceps, drop them on my sterile field, and then slide them to the side, okay? You don't want to drop them right on the edge because apparently that is possibly breaching sterility, and we're all about keeping sterility here in this joint. So anyways, I have my forceps, my beautiful metal forceps, okay? I'm going to dry the wound by using my big 4x4s, which are in everybody's wound care trays because it's a big wound. So these big things, you know what I'm saying? I just fold it in half, very basic, and then I pick it up by the fold like that, okay? And then when you go to your wound, okay, I'm just going to demonstrate on my leg. You just kind of dip it in, and you'll notice that the gauze naturally pools around it, okay? Because you never want your metal forceps to touch the wound. You only want the gauze to touch it. Your metal forceps are only allowed to touch your sterile gauze. So I'm just going to do that one more time. Get my gauze, fold it in half, grab it by the fold, and then dry, okay? Throw it. That's it. So that is how to irrigate and dry without using sterile gloves. At this point, I would don my sterile gloves, grab my packing that I threw in here, soak it, squeeze it out, and then let it go out, poke it with a toothpick, and make sure that it gets really well into my wound. So I hope that that makes sense, and I really hope it helps you and that you come up with your own method to kind of do this really complicated technique. So you got this. I believe in you, and I'll see you later. Bye.